Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso Morning Show on SABC3. Welcome to it. Lots more to look forward to in this last half an hour. Next up, though, we're talking about a man called Alex Hamilton. We know him. He's a master of stencil artwork. And last year, he joined the team at Kamers vol Geskenke to present Kamers met Kunst. And he will be sharing more of his designs and art with Kamers vol Geskenke at the exhibition this year. And it takes place in Johannesburg from the 23rd till the 27th of April and down in Cape Town from the 7th till the 10th of May. But he is going to be sharing his knowledge about stencil art so that actually you can try it for yourself. Stencil art, it really is a brilliant art form to get involved in.
Although the art of stenciling has been around for 35,000 years, Japanese stencil art reached its peak when it was recognized as the medium of choice to imprint family crests onto Japanese kimonos. Since it has evolved to being painted onto walls, color blocks and paper. It is now recognized in Décor as a way of creating wall art, and the stencils themselves are used as framed artworks.
What I'm going to show you today is how to cut your own stencil, your own monogram stencil, inspired by these little Japanese vintage stencils, 1920s, 1930s. They used to be cut by hand by the tailor and to mark the kimonos. So they're the family crests of the family. So I'm going to start by showing you how to do your own monogram. You'll need a piece of cardboard, not too thick because otherwise you won't be able to cut through it. You'll also need a pen or a marker or something to make the monogram, and a sharp knife, and a pair of scissors to get some of the edges round, some paint, and perhaps a bit of sponge to stencil eventually. I took a square piece of cardboard and I drew some guidelines on it. And that gives you a guide to where you want to place the initials. I'm going to use my initials, AH. I'm going to fold it in half to get the symmetry correct, and then cut on the inside edges to create the stencil.
Be careful when cutting your islands. You'll have to restart it if you cut one of your bridges. Also be careful when using sharp cutting utensils. It's easy to injure yourself.
So I've just finished cutting the stencil, and at this stage it's quite delicate. They're quite small and the links are fragile, so be careful not to tear it. So what I'm going to do now is to actually use my freshly cut stencil and make a little artwork. So I'll be using spray paint. I'll use a sponge to get even distribution so that there's no bleeding on the edges.
In Japanese culture, the designs are influenced by your family crest or your family values. This is why Alex chose to design his initials, AH.
As you can see, we now have a monogram stencil. What is really nice is that you can reuse the stencil multiple times, and eventually you can probably frame it up as a little artwork itself, similar to these little Japanese ones.
Your Japanese designs can be framed and placed on a wall. You can frame 3 separate designs, or you can incorporate more than one design into one frame. You can also reuse the stencils to replicate your designs as wall art without the framing.
Absolutely beautiful. Japanese stencil art. You know what? It can become a brand new feature in your home. So joining us this morning, we have Kate Shepherd to show us how to incorporate Japanese decor elements into your home, making a whole Japanese kind of theme, which could be absolutely beautiful. Kate, very nice to have you this morning. Now, you've set up a little showcase for us to show us what goes into the Japanese design, Japanese decor. But I think the first thing that comes to mind is feng shui.
Absolutely, and we've tried to just grab a few different elements here from the different feng shui sort of cycle that there is. And we don't want to go into it too much, but I think there's definitely very key elements. You've got your earth, your wind, your fire, your wood, and your metallics.
All right, so take us through it. I mean, how are we going to get this right?
Okay, so I think first off, what's really important is to pick a bold color.
Okay.
We went with the water feel for the feng shui, your navy. It's so popular on the fashion catwalks at the moment, so we thought really important to maybe bring that as a trend into your home. You can do it on a focal wall, you can maybe have a big bright couch or something like that. And then what looks fantastic is to also obviously pop it with a bit of metallics, you know, whether it's bronzes or golds, it really jumps out at you. Here we've simply illustrated it, but in your house you could do a stencil, you could do vinyl, something along those lines.
Absolutely. All right, and what else do you have? I see you've got some nice like a biofire going on.
Yes, exactly, yeah, biofuel, very exciting fires, obviously completely portable.
That's
Put it in any room in your house, it creates heat without actually also giving those nasty things like spitting, embers, and smoke.
Yes, which you don't want in your house.
Yeah,
of course.
it's odorless, and it's a nice fire element of that feng shui.
All right. And in terms of the wood, you said you're working with the different elements. I mean, in terms of the earth kind of vibes, what have you brought in here?
So here we just have some cocktail tables. We love our raw pine. That's very popular as well at the moment. Most of the shops at the moment, you can find coffee tables or dining room tables that are beautifully done in different types of woods. So here we have it just as a cocktail element. You can put it in your house in whichever way you would like to.
Absolutely. And of course, you can't forget about origami. I mean, here you have some beautiful examples as well of what you can do. Now, there's so many different kinds of origami out there that you can do.
This is the thing.
You chose to go with, once again, the navy kind of flower effect.
Yeah, and I think everybody has seen the doves and they've seen the flowers at weddings and things, but I think in your house it's a completely sustainable way to do flowers. And I think, what's nice about this route, completely low maintenance. You don't have to do anything, you don't have to water it. And, also, you can do any colour you want. You can bring your metallics in, you can add the navy and sort of no colour issues.
So just to end off, I mean, what would be your number one tip for somebody going out there trying to create this Japanese feel to their space at home?
I think sleek and modern. I think it needs to be timeless. I think to stay away from anything too kitsch or too stylized. I think just keep it bold, keep it sleek, add your small little zen or sort of feng shui elements, and just wrap it all together with a really bold color.
Like I said, it is striking, yet it's quite simple as well.
Very simple, absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It looks absolutely beautiful, and now you know exactly how to go about creating a whole Japanese theme in your space at home. But we're sticking with the Japanese theme this morning. I mean, there are so many different teas to come out of Japan, and Kat's about to taste a couple of them.